Well, question: Do you guys think that we'll see Charlotte's husband, Michael Ealy, and what'd you call him, Miles Morales?
Again, that's hope.
Do you think we'll see them again? And if so, who would be the one to bring them back, and would they even be the same?
Bring them back as hosts or something?
As hosts, I don't know if we need them as hosts. You know,
I don't think so. I don't know how they would play a part.
Okay.
It would be nice. It would be nice if Dolores Prime is like, Holores, go ahead and live your life the way you want to live it now that we're free. Because you can tell that she does have an emotional connection with these people. And so maybe, having them as her host, kid, and husband, which is probably what Dolores wanted to have in the beginning, which is a normal family. But I don't see them as really being necessary at this point. Which is unfortunate because I'd love to see more Michael Ealy, I think that they are. I think they'll be a prize at the end versus a necessary component during their struggle to get to host Kingdom.
Gotcha.
Right. Host
Anyone
heaven.
else? What do you think, Darion?
Oh, yeah. No, I think they're dead.
Okay. I actually think that she may want to resurrect them in hosts because they can. She can. I think Charlotte or Holores, she's become so attached. I think having a family has given her meaning. She's very far removed from Dolores at this point. She's moving closer to not Charlotte, not Dolores, but Holores, her own unique mind. And I think that she is going to feel a sense of purpose when she has a family. And I think she's going to, because she has that data just like Dolores has and access to recreating more hosts. So I don't know. I think she might. I wouldn't be surprised if they went there. If they did, I don't see that happening this season. I would think that might be something that could be played out for the next season.
Yeah.
But guys, so let me paint this picture for you before I ask you this question. So you remember this scene, of course, when Maeve's host body is being made, right? It's in the factory and it's weaving. It's literally doing a 3D printing of her. And we have all of the pearls there. There's 4 pearls, of course. And we'll get into it. There's a whole nother debate and question about that rock pearl, but I'll go into that later. But there is one more pearl being made into a host. This is after Maeve steps out. She has all the milk and stuff on her feet, and she's standing there, and she looks over. There's another host being made. Who do you think that host is going to be?
Well, she has two allies.
Do we think that's still Hector, even though they took Hector's pearl?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Who could that be? Because she crushed his pearl. So just
she crushed his pearl, but not his body.
No. Without a pearl, you got no body.
You can't do that.
Just like in Altered Carbon, you got no stack, you done.
Right.
That's why I was going to do some T-shirts that say, protect your pearl, niggas. No, anyway.
Protect your jewels.
Pearl.
I like that. I buy that.
Yes, I just think we got to protect our pearl. You know what I mean? That's your only pearl. That might be your soul. That makes whoever you are, that's who you are. That's what makes you you, right? So they took what made Hector. Like, he can't officially right now be brought back. So they also burned a lot of the other host bodies in the park. Not their pearls, but their host bodies. But if those pearls were in the host bodies, then I don't know if they can survive the fire. We don't know. But who do you guys think? Who else could it be? Some people think it's Clementine. Anyone?
We said that too.
It was 3 altogether, so they got rid of Hector. So I saw that it could be Clementine because they looked at the numbers and Clementine's number. But the second person could be either Leroy, you said in your review video, show with the tattoos.
Armistice.
Yeah. Her, or I think they can get the real Masashi because he was a good ally in Shogun World to me.
Yep.
So
I think they're going to go with the because I think if they look at the fan pages and people talking, like the audience and the fans, people love the hell out of Armistice, and she didn't get enough screen time. So I would hope that they bring her back
in some way.
Yeah. The only thing my biggest fear is that the writers didn't get lazy and just got stupid or just went and got high and wasn't paying attention, and they decided to make a copy of Maeve. That would be such a lazy writing if they did that. I would be so pissed.
That'd be super whack.
That would be very whack if they did that. But that was, something where I was kind of like, please don't do no copy of Maeve now. That's going to be real dumb if they did that. So we'll see. But there's just a lot of like fun, cool theories as to who that other person can be. So that's the stuff where I don't really, it's fun to speculate, but it's exciting to just sit and wait and watch to see what ends up happening and who that person is. So this next question is a little loaded. It's a little more existential and a little deeper. We're pulling back the layers now. So Rehoboam predicted everyone's future in the entire world, right? And I didn't think about it until you see the television footage of them saying civil unrest around the entire world. Then it put it in perspective because you don't see what's happening in, other countries and stuff until you see that news report. But do you think we'll see anyone with any kind of good prediction of their future? So far, when we see extras and actors and people, behind the scenes, they're like up in arms. And I think we saw one woman laughing when Holores was walking across the street with her son. But, laughter could still mean anger and all these other things. So we don't know if that was happy laughter or some sort of other type of laughter. But why do you think everyone believed so firmly, so wholeheartedly in their predicted fate in this show? Because it isn't explained. They don't play that out. I wish they would have. That would have been a perfect filler episode if they showed normal, just a regular person or people on the train or whatever, or someone actually, worshiping this thing. Because for the show, just in the narrative, it's kind of stupid for everybody. It's almost unbelievable that everyone would react that way off of this prediction without us understanding everyone's belief. I think you said a key word, worship. And I think this has replaced what we called God. And I think that's what they're thinking. When they're believing this prediction, they're believing that thing is from God. I don't know. I think that's where it might go. I don't know.
I also think it has to do with, it's like social media on steroids to the degree, And so I feel like if we keep going the way we're going, I mean, some of us like me get up in the morning. I should be, reading my Bible and reading some word at first, but I get up and I look at my notifications and I start scrolling and so I think if we continue down this path, which I'm trying not to, it could end up being, you believe this inside the Rehoboam or whatever, if that kind of technology is around at that time, which it probably will be. And so I think it is impossible to think that these people would, have this reaction to this information that they get. One, it lines up with what they've been going through.
And what they were probably thinking about,
all their information is there. And so like, well, this makes sense that I will end up like this, or this makes sense that my loved one would kill themselves, or something like that. And so to me, I don't find it as far-fetched. I don't know if it needs to be explained fully because I don't know, the millennial in me is like, this makes complete sense because we're so glued to our phones and to social media and to getting that approval and to all that kind of stuff.
And you share so much of yourself so much. That's why the entities out there couldn't take that and just mold and said, okay, this is what you said. This is what you wrote. So there also doesn't seem to be a lot of individualistic type of thinking. I feel like if everyone is they're very sensitive in what other people think of them, so they almost reacted in the same way like a teenager would if the whole school went on Facebook and said, oh, this girl, we hate her, we can't stand her, and then she's like, oh, mom, I'm going to slice my wrist now, and she, or like she reacts in that way. And for some people will be like, oh, why would you do that? That seems weak. But for that person, that's real. They feel that kind of pressure from their peers. And I think that, I guess considering the fact that this is not just a simple algorithm that's just saying, hey, this is what your life is. It's already seen this pattern and it's already telling you, it knows you better than you know yourself.
And it's the worst fear. So it took all your fears. We talk about who we are and what our fears are on social media and just in general, and sharing it within sharing ourselves online. So if this system knows your worst fear and it sends you information about your future that is your worst fear, I could see that being really detrimental to most people, especially if you have a fragile mind. But when you think of Charlotte's husband, who decided not to look at it, he was very strong-willed, and he was just like, I was curious to see how our relationship would turn out, but he still didn't look at it. So he was the only one that showed some sort of restraint and was just like, okay, we can make our own future, whereas no one else seemed to come to that conclusion. So for the show's narrative, I didn't know what to think of that, because it felt flawed for the show's narrative. But then, because what does that tell you? That tells you that you have some people in this society or in the world that won't look at it, that doesn't believe in it, that feels differently, right? But we don't see that other than just Charlotte Hales or Holores' husband. So it's a
who dies, who gets blown up.
I think
exactly.
Honestly,
It's not there anymore.
I feel like what they did there is it's just because it's not probably important enough to the story at this time. So they need to kind of convey that everybody knows about it, right? That's the only real purpose, because you see in all these background shots, people in the background reacting and stuff. So that reminds us that it's a global, like it's everywhere that people are getting this information. But I think that would be maybe a little too nuanced for what they need right now for telling the story, to go that deep into it. Like it might come up. I think that's probably
because it's weird, because there's a little inconsistency. So like Lena Waithe's character, who plays Ash, she wasn't showing her future, she was showing her brother's future, and we talked about that in the previous podcast. So like some people are not getting their own future, they're getting a future of a loved one, which is still damning. That was still her worst fear, or horrible for her, because she was doing everything she could to help her brother and make sure that he had this great life, and to find out he didn't was crushing for her. So her future, I guess, lied in his future. So in that regard, I can see how that's like a shared future in a way. But like if you live on Amazon, you got no dang on phone, how you gonna know? And my biggest thing is, and again, I know the show doesn't really go into this too much at all, but it's kind of like, the bigger question is, if you were given your future, if someone wrote your future out, but you just decided not to look at it, does it mean you will fulfill it?
Right. But I guess that goes, but this is the thing, I think we're saying it without dancing around it, because this is a future that's based on where we're going. But Serac said it, and Glenn said it, he just didn't go that far. They created their own God. And that's a powerful thing.
Oh yeah.
It's not, I guess we're looking at it as if Facebook told me this is your future. We know Paris is no longer around. We heard that elephants are extinct. We see in these episodes people wearing face masks in their regular everyday society. So we know if you go back and you watch Rehoboam, we know that they're I don't forget exactly what they call them, but the little points on Rehoboam. They didn't just build a program. Serac said they built a God.
Right.
And when God tells you, and not to get biblical, it's called Rehoboam for a reason, because it's the son of King Solomon. And we all know the story of Solomon with the two moms. Is this your baby? That's who told you this. So Serac didn't just build a program. He built something that is supposed to keep humanity on a trajectory to keep them alive. So it wasn't just like Twitter called you names today. Twitter said you will die in 10 years. Twitter been right all along. So it's we can't look at it in 2020 terms. We have to look at it in terms of there have been global wars. There have been Rehoboam is so dangerous, and I think what we kind of overlook and how powerful Serac is. Serac went to the president of Brazil in the middle of nowhere, told him what to do, told him who his successor was, and walked away with his back turned. That's the most disrespectful thing you can do to another person.
Yeah, he actually showed up there.
And like I think we got to look at it in terms of this is a whole new society that is shaped not by us working together, but listening to something that we can't see. And it does build on that faith aspect. But this is this civilization's God. Even if you remember Liam's character, when Dolores asked him about it, and he's like a crackhead. He was like, "What you talk about?" And he literally was like, "Yo, you need to ease up. You don't know what you deal." And so even Dolores was like, he was like, "This thing killed my father." And so we see how powerful and how dangerous it is.
Yeah.
And so for those people, and it's just like in this time, Loren talks about, her faith. Some people don't have faith. So some people don't believe in it. And those are the people who, I don't want to say we don't care about them, but those people are going to be fine. These are the people who this dictates their entire existence. And so what happens when your God tells you you're going to die or you're not worthy? And that's what we're dealing with Dolores. Is like, this isn't your God. You can be free. When Serac is like, if I let you be free, because that's what, think about it. Liam, in the last episode, read the room, bro. They're going to kill you. And he was still talking trash to beast mode, to Lena Waithe, to the point where it's like, they're literally trying to help you. He didn't care because why? He no longer was part of the 1%. And that's what what we're seeing. One of the things we haven't really discussed class. Season 1 and 2 is about the haves and the have-nots. Season 3 is about everybody. So now we're seeing Dolores interact with the haves and the have-nots, the 1%. You're seeing a mixture of people. That's why you see people on the train. Some people react, some people don't. Season 1 and 2 is really about what happens to the 1% when they're allowed to do whatever they want to do. Kind of like what they do now. But now there's no repercussions. There's no legal system. Serac has said, okay, I'm going to put y'all all in the same playing field. And this is your God. And they have accepted it. And that's the dangerous thing, that now we have a fight between Serac and his God, saying this is what is best for you. And Dolores is saying, nah, you can govern yourselves. So I think that's where this is leading up. At least I think it's where it's leading up to.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Where we're actually really, really tight on time, so we're going to close out. But if anybody have any last minute thoughts, let me know. But I have one last question to ask the whole group. My question is, so when Maeve and Serac first talked in the very beginning, Serac threatened Maeve, right? Remember the evil look she gave him? The type of person Maeve has shown herself to be on the show, she doesn't take threats lightly. And I think she's a very, I think she's real patient, because like even with Dolores, when she had that conversation with Dolores, she clearly don't really want to fight Dolores, but she wants to go to the Sublime. She wants to make sure people there are protected, her door is protected and all that kind of stuff. So she feels like she doesn't have a choice. She's a very patient person. I think she's very lenient. She's not gonna go after you. She's not hot-headed, right? But when she's already been annoyed by Serac up until this point, but when he outright just threatened her like that, what do you guys think she's going to do to him? Do you think she may end up aligning herself with Dolores to go against him? Or do you think she's just going to go after him separately? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think they're going to align together. I have a prediction of what Dolores' overall plan might be. She seems like she wants to have complete freedom of any type of control. And I believe that she wants to start a new species and not just her own. I believe that she, like you said, Leroy, she only had interaction with the 1%. So her perception of humanity was subjective, and she had a tunnel vision. But when she went out into the real world and learned about humans in Rehoboam, and then she met Caleb, who she pretty much sees these, humans are just like hosts in their own way. So I think that she's trying to create with the pearl that has all the information. I think, and with Rehoboam, who has the information of all of humanity. I think she wants to create, and also we forgot that in Masashi is manufacturing all the host.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think that she wants to just create a whole new type of humanity with hosts and humans, and make them all hosts, free of control of Rehoboam, free of control
like
of
clone hosts and the regular.
Yes, she wants. I think she's like she said. Even when she had the conversation with Maeve, she said, even my path has changed since I've been out here. So I believe that they'll align together, and she has her daughter, and she has access to everybody in the Sublime. Mm-hmm. She may bring her daughter back and everybody in the Sublime back into new hosts. She may bring off humanity into host bodies, so that way we can live in complete freedom. And when Serac's Rehoboam predicts that humans are gone, I think that prediction is that.
Ooh.
Yeah, when Liam looked at her through the glasses, she didn't see anything. He didn't see anything about her. So I think that Rehoboam is seeing that humans don't exist, but these new humans do exist. So on through
humanity dying is actually transitioning to the new form, bro.
Giving birth to a new life form. Yeah,
exactly. So Serac is just an interpretation of what you think is going to be the end of the world.
What?
You know what I mean? So I think she's going to bring back everyone in this new species to blend humans and hosts together.
That's it. Yeah,
I'm signed on with that. I'm on board.
Exactly.
I'm on board.
Wrap that up and sell it and package it. I'll buy it. That's a really good one.
As a question for the comments to see if people think that's going to be, if that's what's going to happen or not. I would think that's the big question that for whenever you post a video or whatever, to see if people actually agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I think a lot of people have their own theories and all that kind of stuff. We all don't know, but it looks like that's where it's going. We can only base it off of the information we've been given so far in the show and what we know about the characters. So those are awesome theories, guys. So thank you all so much for taking out the time to be on this show. And I definitely know that we'll probably do this again, because there are a lot of questions we never even got a chance to get to, which I already knew, because I was just like, there's no way we're going to get to all these questions.
Right.
Westworld is just so deep, and there's always so much going on. It's really hard to get to every single question, so I'm not surprised. But again, so if any of your fans or our fans, please put your comments below on all of the things that we talked about the show. And thank you, News 19 Nerds, for joining MCSFO on this podcast.
Guys, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure meeting you guys.
Oh, we got a selfie.
This is going up.
Cool hanging out with y'all.
Yeah, it was definitely cool.
We'll definitely do it again. All right, guys.
It'll be cool if one day we can do it in person. That would be great.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God, yes.
Yes. Definitely.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Be awesome.
A number the word. A number the word, Darion. Yes.
I call out for Marvel movies, so I'll take time off for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, yes. You, bro.
That's Michael. I'll be honest. I'll be like, I ain't going to work that day.
I come to work. Hey, look. I mean, we always have the Atlanta Sci-Fi Film Festival. Y'all may be sent to cover it. I don't know.
Right.
That won't happen until next year. But hey, you never know. Like I said, hopefully the quarantine stuff will be gone soon, and we'll be able to do something in person. So I look forward to it.
That'd be awesome.
Very
cool.
All right. Well, take care, guys. Stay safe.
All right. Pleasure meeting y'all.
All right. Y'all well, for real.
Forever.
All right.
Take it easy.
All right. Peace.